man is born without a faith.
Without a faith?
Yes, without a faith. That faith is given to him either by his parents or by society. Or at a later faith.
That is what you say.
That's what I'm making a statement.
But that is not what Hazrat Muhammad has said. So be careful with what you say.
But I know that man is born on fitrat sahiyya.
That's not all what he has said. Kullu mawludin yuladu ala Islam. That is also Hazrat Buddha's tradition. فَأَبَوَاهُ يُحَوِّدَانِهِ وَيُنَصِّرَانِهِ. It is his parents then, whether that is into Christians or into Judaism, just for instance. So every man is born on Islam. That is the verdict of Islam. And that has to be, the other tradition is in fact in conformity with this one. Because when we said, Kullu Mauludin Yuladu Alal Fitrate, that is one and the same thing. Because the Holy Quran claims Islam to be Deen Fitrat. So Fitrat and Islam are one and the same thing. So if a mullah draws a corollary from some sayings of the Holy Quran, which appears to be obnoxious to human nature and is contradictory to humanity as such, that should not be accepted by a Muslim. Because Allah has created man in nature, that is, he is in total conformity with the act of God. And he is in peace with the entire nature around him. So anything which is against man's nature, which is created by Allah, could not have been said by the Holy Quran. That is one problem we can make, a safe problem. So from this explanation, after having heard this explanation, now you can frame your question, please.
A man becomes staunch in his faith as he grows up.
Correct.
I'm given to understand, and I'm being told, and I'm being asked to give the superiority of my faith. And it's just, to do what? Superiority of my faith. That my faith is superior than others. Now, if I look back to the histories, I do not think that my faith has made previous generations till today a better human being. So that means my faith has failed to take the humanity.
So why would you take your faith then?
Pardon?
When your faith has failed you, the natural result should be that you should take your faith.
That was my question of yesterday, sir. Which is superior? Is it the man who makes the faith? It is the man behind the faith, or it's the faith?
What I mean to say is that if your faith has deserted you, you better desert such a faith. That is a simple logical conclusion that you are drawing yourself to.
No, sir, I'm trying to reconcile myself to my beliefs. My belief is that my faith is still superior to others.
Despite the fact that when you look back at history, up till now, you find that your faith has failed to produce what it claims to produce.
So somewhere something is wrong inside in me or not.
So that is what I am telling you. In such a situation, if you are true to yourself, either don't believe in what you are believing or reject that faith which speaks of something else and does something else. The most important thing is for one to be honest. As I told you yesterday or the day before, I don't remember, the most important thing to which the Holy Quran draws one's attention is this, that you have to be true. If you are true to yourself, even if you are not true in relation to the truth itself, you have an internal truth. still Allah will forgive you. But even if you are born in truth and you are not true to yourself, you will not be pardoned by Allah. You will be taken account of. You will be brought to books. So you have to be true to yourself. That is most important. If you find your faith to have failed in its claim and or is inconsistent, then you better desert that faith.
Ask me this, the other guy, my neighbor was under my public, he is a white man, very big man.
So why are you cheating the poor man?
I was in my garden, he came up rushing from inside his house.
Yes.
With a paper. Just wearing this, after his Mr. How what happened to you? He said, look, this is your Islam. And he was showing me the photograph of Maulana Khomeini. I won't tell him Imam, Maulana Khomeini. This is your Islam. Now what I had to tell him?
What did you say?
I said, no, this is not. I'm still better than being burned on the stake, he said. I told him this, that this is not my Islam.
So,
he was not convinced. He asked me, what is your Islam? Then I started explaining and he read. He said, no, I can't understand all that. 5 times a day, your prayer and all that. He read off. So that is the point, you see. Have we failed the faith or faith has failed us?
do you want me to run off? I still can't understand the question part of it. Or it has not come yet, perhaps.
What I'm trying to bring, say, the fact, notice or asking the reason behind it. Why in the history? We have not been able to produce.
History is action of men. History is not the judgment on faith. History is action of men.
Exactly, sir. That is the only point you start asking. History is judgment on faith or not?
History is action of men. If the action, it may become a judgment on faith or may not become. Directly, history has nothing to do with faith. It is a collection of action of men. If men are true to their faith and have failed, then only and only then would history become a history of judgment of faith. Otherwise not. History may vary from time to time, from nation to nation. There are people, and very seldom so, who are true to their faith. Then, in all honesty, they have worked according to their views and beliefs and have failed. Such people will be presented by history as a people, of course, but indirectly the history would also be giving judgment on their faith. That they did not fail their faith, yet their faith failed them. On the contrary, you may come across such people who had a faith, who rejected their faith in all practical values, in their life, in their pursuit of ideals. The faith lied in different direction and the ideals which they really pursued lay in different directions. And they also failed. That history also would be the history of action of such men. But indirectly, through inference, you can say that history is passing judgment that their faith might have been good, but they never tried it. History won't say that faith was positively good, which was abundant, this is why they failed. History will only be neutral in this respect, that while they had not acted upon their faith, so we cannot reject and censure their faith. That will be the only verdict of history. There is a third possibility. If people are true to their faith and they act upon their faith and they succeed dramatically, they bring about fantastic revolutions,
that history will also be a history of the action of the people, yet it will be directly bearing a witness, a testimony, that their faith was positively something highly productive and was on the right side, at least to the extent that that faith helped those people to rise to great heights, while previously they were nothing in the world, in the Comity of Nations. For instance, the history of the Arabs, just prior to the time of Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and during the time of Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and a few hundred years after. That will be a history of the Arabs to begin with, but it will also show that those Arabs were transformed after accepting a faith and acting upon that. And the history of the later part of the same Arabs, or an enlarged Muslim empire, let's say, would give its verdict through the actions of the people who followed them, that when once they had decided or had inadvertently deserted their faith, then they began the downhill course, which is still observed. So again, through their actions, an inference will be drawn that a faith which had once proved effective in bringing about great revolutions and changing the lot of a people, once deserted, it produced exactly the opposite effect. So there the entire credit would go to the faith and the entire discredit would go to the people. So history can give you different verdicts. Initially and basically, it is the history of the activities of human beings. And these inferences can be drawn variously in various situations. Yes, please.